Alcohol has been my best friend for years. I saw this comment on one of my blog posts the other day and I thought, wow, I really need to talk about that. I know that this particular thought about alcohol being a friend, it comes up for a lot of people. And you might not articulate it in those exact same terms, but for many of us, there is that feeling of having a relationship with alcohol, that somehow it's always there for you. If all else fails, there's wine. Through thick and thin, when everyone else leaves, you can always rely on alcohol to have your back. But of course, alcohol doesn't really care about you. It does not have your back. Alcohol is not really your friend. A friend is someone who supports you, who wants the best for you, and who you can rely on and trust. Alcohol is just a liquid and a chemical substance. It can't be your friend in the same way that a glass of water or a banana can't be your friend. But even if we were, for the sake of argument, going to project some kind of personality onto alcohol and think about what kind of friend it could be in theory, then there's no way it would actually qualify for best friend material. Alcohol would be a terrible friend. I mean, just think of all the times when you've turned to alcohol for comfort and reassurance, and in return, it's left you feeling anxious, depressed, hungover, and unable to sleep at 4 a.m. Think of the times when alcohol convinced you that you were so funny or such a great dancer, and then you were left cringing afterwards. And what about those times when alcohol robbed you of your memories or the ability to show up for the people you really care about? If any of my real life friends behaved in that way and did those things, then I would be quickly reevaluating our friendship, and I think you would too. Because unless you've got some weird, twisted definition of friendship, I think most of us can agree that that isn't a good way to treat people. This all sounds so obvious when I talk about it like this, doesn't it? Of course, alcohol isn't your friend. But it is so easy to slip into saying stuff like this about booze without really questioning it. This is how people end up believing that alcohol is helping them manage their stress, despite all the evidence pointing to the fact that actually alcohol is making that stress worse. Maybe there's something else that you often think or say to yourself about alcohol without stopping to pause and question it. You just want to notice how often you're positioning alcohol in your mind as something that's good, something that you've got to resist or tear yourself away from. If you have been thinking of alcohol as your friend, as a comfort and a crutch that you can rest on, then here's what you can do. Just start questioning that relationship. I am not going to suggest that you start calling alcohol an enemy. You can't really switch from it being a best friend to an enemy overnight. And actually, I don't think that I personally see alcohol as an enemy. I don't see it as a terrible, awful thing that has to be demonized in order for me to remember not to drink it. I see it in just the same way that I see other drugs. It's just something that I choose not to use because I know it doesn't make me feel good. And I've realised that life can be totally happy and complete without it. If you are just starting to question your relationship, your friendship with alcohol, the most important thing to remember is that how you feel right now won't be how you feel forever. Right now, any change is a big deal. You've spent a lot of time with alcohol, thinking about it, worrying about it, drinking it, buying it, managing it. You've done a lot of things together. But I suspect that at some point or another, you've had a real life friendship that came to an end. Perhaps you started to realise that that person wasn't quite who you thought they were, or you saw a side of them that you didn't like. It feels like a really big thing in the moment. It's a big change. But once some time has passed and you look back, you can generally see that it was for the best. In fact, perhaps you've got some great friends in your life that you would never have met, or you would never have struck up a friendship with if you'd stayed as you were, stayed as that person who was just making do with friends that didn't really care about you, a friendship that wasn't really working. People change and grow and move on all the time. And if you've got to this point in this video, then I suspect you might have outgrown alcohol, or you're on the verge of it. So it's time to go and make friends with alcohol-free living, because that actually is a best friend and a friend you can really count on. So as always, please scroll down and leave a note for me in the comments. Let me know what your friendship status with alcohol is like, and I hope you have a great week ahead.